Good afternoon. When we thought about this webinar on this particular subject, we thought we'll do a small event with about 100 odd participants and have a serious discussion around modernization of IT. But when we started researching on the subject, we could quickly see that this appeals to a larger audience, much larger audience. Everyone's life connected with IT community are going to change in the next 5 to 10 years. Significant change is going to happen with the modernization and digitalization of our IT systems, infrastructure, applications. That's when we decided to broad base our webinar, make it bigger, and invite a lot more participants. So we got an overwhelming response. Over 8,000 participants registered for this event. As we speak, in the first minute, we have 943 participants logged in and growing by every second. So what are we going to cover in this webinar? Why so much of interest from people from our industries? It's obviously this topic is in everyone's mind, and we have got the best of the panelists, the outliers in our professional circles that we have seen in India are today assembled to share their experiences and their views to all of us today. Also, a genesis of our researchers at Controllers and Cloud4C, who has done enough research on this subject. Of course, we cannot share everything. We try to summarize it to present in a few slides to give you an idea to start thinking about this particular subject. How it's going to change your lives. You may not be, all of you may not be CIOs who are listening today. You may be an IT professional at the mid of your career on your path to CIO. Whoever it is, it's going to be a significant value add listening to these experts who have gathered with us today. To summarize our research, this one slide will give you an idea about the whether to think and act and make this subject an important one or not. When we went through the overall thing, and then we said, modernize or not. All of this research probably could be summarized in this particular visual. There is no doubt about whether we are going to do it or not. That question itself does not arise. I'll give you a couple of examples, many of you would have heard of a company called Best Buy in electronics, those who have gone to the US. And this company, as recent as 2012, have lost $1.5 billion. And there came a new CEO and teamed up with the CIO have come up with extensive modernization efforts. They have, they have changed the way their company works through digital initiatives with IT modernization initiatives. In about 8 years, this company went back to $1.7 billion profit from $1.5 billion losses. Increased their shareholding to the right side. If you see, 25 billion was their valuation. When they started off this effort, midway or 2016, went up by 3x. Now that is the power of modernizing IT and going the digital way. Same thing happened closer to us in DBS Bank. They've been have been our controllers client for a long time now. The same results. 2014, they didn't have the digital users. By 2019, in about 5 years, 52% of their customers are digital customers. And these customers are twice as profitable compared to their regular customer. Needless to say, change the whole face of DBS, in the last 4 or 5 years. Significant improvement, and most of the credit goes to the digital initiatives of the CIO organization, which have been taken up in this organization as well. Let's look at a smaller digital native company in our homeland, India. This company is called Swiggy. I'm sure all of you would have used it. And you order a less than $5 meal. Look at the details that company gives you, For spending 100 rupees, even 100 rupees on this company, they will give you order has been signed in, restaurant started preparing your food, and then they will tell you that, okay, my guy has gone, and then they will show you where he is, his car or his bike coming to your home. For even 100 rupees worth of an order. Now, many of us do millions of dollars of deals with our customers, even in B2B space. Are we ready to face these kind of competition in our industries? What happens if you are not, and one of our competitor is able to give a complete digital experience backed by a modernized IT? Where do we stand? Or if I'm an IT professional, I do not know, or my skills are not useful for the digital world, what will happen to my career? Now, these are the questions that are going to be discussed today, and we are going to get advice from our experts. As per our research, we came up with the easiest way to begin thinking about this interesting aspect. We can summarize that it's a lot of science, of course, as usual, nothing is easier, but for the ease of our learning, we call it as a MCA, not Master of Computer Applications. We call it a MCA. I want all of you to predict what is MCA and write to us. On the bottom of your screen, you can click and write your question to us, Q&A. In that, you can write your comments. What do you think is MCA? We'll come back to it. But before going in details into the subject, I wanted to introduce all of you to an outstanding professional who made impossible goals seem like a common achievement. Here is a man, if he is asked to run or get a $10 million business, he used to take back 100 million in return. He always set his goals 10x, and most of the years he achieved, even after running, after growing to a scale of running much larger companies, he took them to a new heights every year. Let me call upon Devdeep Sen Gupta, Managing Director of SAP. Hi, Dedeep.
Hi, thank you for the nice introduction. Great to be here with everybody. Good evening and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
So they, the first question which coming to the minds of SAP, they came to know that they're going to meet, already I have a few questions here lined up, is when they came to know you're coming online, they want to hear from you, current situation. There are a lot of companies which have exhausted their resources. They are bleeding.
Okay.
And many companies' revenues have eroded. Is there any help SAP is doing for its customers?
Well, I think, thanks, Sridhar, for the question. And it's a very, very pertinent question because when I look back across the industry, across all my years of experience, I'm sure collectively everybody, nobody has ever faced a situation like this in their lifetime. Right, it's even once in a generation kind of a situation, and obviously in India it has impacted us even more, the entire community even more. So, and we have been obviously getting a lot of requests because we have partnered with our customers over a long period of time, and it is, I would say, it's expected that there is a hand of help which they expect from their closest partners. So there are a couple of things. As I said, we have been getting a lot of requests. So 2 or 3 things which we have done. I just wanted to make it short, crisp, and clear. Number one, we have a global task force which is run out of Germany, a COVID task force, because this situation, what we are seeing in India, is happening in many other emerging markets as well as in developed markets. So there's a global task force. In India also, we have a task force which is headed by our CFO and CEO. So we are taking every request from customers, having a conversation with them, what is their specific requirement, because everybody's situation is very unique. That's number one. Number two, we are putting it to this task force for their due diligence and communicating back to the customer. Now, having said that, uh, just to tell you the progress over the last 60 days, India alone, because every market has been given a particular, I would say, allocation of what they can deal with. India alone across Asia Pacific has consumed 78% of that allocation. Right. So we have gone out of our way to try and support as many as we can. But our priority has been mostly to the ones which are the highest impacted. Because if you look at it, a significant part of our customers are SMEs and micro SMEs. So what we have tried to do, the sectors of the industries and the segment of the customers which has been the most impacted, we have tried to support them the first. So that's number one. And way we have tried to do that is through, and I'm talking specific, is through extending the terms of payment and some other, clauses, so that which gives them the liquidity and things like that. So I guess, that's number one. Number two, Sridhar, I think we have been in India for more than 20 years. SAP in India has been there for more than 20 years. It's the third largest subsidiary. So we also have a duty of care to the society. So, like for the example, what we have done in the state of Karnataka is to put up a COVID dashboard for the government along with NASCOM to not only track and trace, to look at the daily reporting, to look at the entire statistics on a completely digital dashboard. The second thing what we have done, we run a very unique program called Code Unnati, which is essentially to enable digitally many of the underprivileged youth and women in India. Over the past 2 years, we have created employment opportunities, and this we do with our customers for 2 million youth, right? And basically, there are about 1,500 centers and about 3,000 teachers. So what we have done is that we have not only supported the teachers and these centers by using the resources, whatever we have, to ensure that they are not impacted and their livelihood is maintained. And finally, in the area of health, we have been working both with UNDP as well as with Niti Aayog and a few of the health ministry to ensure that track and trace back to work program kind of platforms are fully enabled. So I would say it's a combination of things for specific customers, for the overall society, as I would say, a responsible corporate citizen.
Thank you, Dave. I mean, it's very interesting to know that, SAP is doing so many wonderful programs to help these CIOs and their companies in this hour of crisis. So they need to get in touch with, if anyone is in distress, need help, whom do they can write to you or?
So what we have done is that, as I said, our Chief Customer Officer is Krishnan Chatterjee, and we have been working very, very closely with our India user group, which is Indus. And Krishnan and his entire team has been working very closely with the India user group.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope that satisfied many of the CIO's questions. Even I have been getting a lot of requests and questions in terms of what is Controllers and Cloud4C are doing in this hour of crisis for for their customers. We are not a mighty SAP or a multi-billion-dollar company. We are young and we are making India proud. We have a two-pronged approach in this situation. One is distressed small companies. Small companies do not have the balance sheets to carry them forward for the future, to handle this kind of revenue losses. Right? So for these companies, we are doing a direct help, direct financial help. We have over 100 companies. We have already, given this, helping hand, and continue to do so going forward. And for larger companies, where CIOs are targeted, given targets in terms of, optimize their IT budgets, we've come up with an innovative, value-driven kind of initiatives. What do I mean by that is, overall, what is the CIO looking for is that to optimize his budget. And today, the combined Controllers and Cloud4C combined is in a position to contribute in a significantly lot more ways than even as close as 2 years ago. And we have done a lot of value engineering into our deals with larger enterprises, and CIOs have been found to be extremely helpful. For those in need of any help, please do write to us, and we are there to help you. Whatever best way that we can within our means. So with that, this was a deviation from the current topic, nothing to do with IT modernization, ladies and gentlemen, but essential question in many people's minds, and we decided to take a few minutes off the agenda and then address these queries. We have close to 2,000 people listening to us now, and eagerly waiting for our beloved CIOs, I call it as outliers of CIOs, or the stars of Indian CIOs to join us. They've been eagerly waiting, and they want to listen to, and learn from their experiences. So we welcome Controllers and Cloud4C, and SAP welcomes the 3-star CIOs of India, and we look forward to learning from them, today on IT modernization and their experiences around it. Sanjay, can you?
Hi, Sridhar.
Hi, okay, you have to switch on your video, Sanjay. We are all eagerly waiting for a star. Well, gentlemen.
Thanks, Sridhar, but your host has stopped my video. They have to do it. From my side, it is okay.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Okay.
Can anyone help us with that?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So,
Yeah.
so you wanted to still show your control. So, I got it.
No. That was not my control, Sanjay. I mean, without you, there is no movie. You see.
No.
You're also one of the lead actors of the today, the star CIO of India. Without you, there's no way that so many people would not have signed up. We're close to 2,000 and crossing the number. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, if you look at, I mean, you're a panelist, you can see the numbers. About 1,776 people are listening to us right now.
Absolutely
And,
fantastic.
yes. Thank you, Hitesh. Thank you, Sumit. For those of you, one more introduction from me. Hitesh runs Vodafone Idea Combine as their Chief Informative Officer. He's a man of many interests. Sports lover, avid reader, traveler, and he's here, of course, most importantly, um, over 20 plus years of experience of, he had a real fast career of reaching to the top of one of the largest companies of India in no time. He's been in this position for many years now. Yeah. And Sumit, he's IM graduate, and same again. When I looked at his profile, in just two jumps, he made it to the CIO level. And he was, of course, Sanjay, he was your colleague too, recently. Yeah. He's now the CIO of, Jindal Industries. And ladies and gentlemen, the last but not the least is not a Bollywood hero. He looks like someone from came by accident into the CIO club meeting. He is not a Bollywood star. He is a star of star CIO of India, and we are proud to have you here, Sanjay. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we will go back to our today's topic, right? We will go back to MCA. Can someone put on that, please? Let's MCA. I mean, we have got a lot of responses. Did anyone win? Did anyone come up with the right answer for this? Let us see. MCA. Why stands for M stands for movies. By the way, we are going to make a movie with these panelists. I'm getting an idea. Once I look at them, I see them here on the screen. Everyone is looking fantastic. I think we can make a movie out of these four panelists. I'll come back to it again. Yeah, this is indeed. Where do we begin with IT infrastructure or IT modernization and going towards digital? Is through this MCA. What do I mean by MCA is making a movie. Seriously, yes. You all need to make a movie to start your digitalization process. But not Sholay. Sholay is your past movie, yes? We all know how our companies have achieved excellence. We have seen that journey, right? And we've done it. Most of our companies have done extremely well. And that's why we are sitting here in responsible positions. But we need to make a movie of future. For example, Interstellar, right? What is it going to? We need to make a movie of our customers and our partners next 10 years down the road. What are they going to do? How are they going to buy our products and services? We need to imagine that and make a movie. That's, according to me, our researchers, is the beginning of the journey towards a truly digital, fully modernized IT. When we make this movie, and C stands for watching competition, you may be running really fast, really hard, right? But your competitor, your fellow colleague in your competitor's company may be actually sitting on a rocket and running. Look at this, right? You need to watch competition, what they're doing, what platforms are they doing, and who they partnered with, and how are they able to do it. So and then the last one is aliens. Look at these companies. They've disrupted their industries. Tesla, for example, come up with not only electric, but also already semi-auto, auto-driven cars. These guys are the aliens we need to watch out for. Uber has changed the complete, taxi industry forever. Who thought that people will be comfortable in getting to some stranger's car and go around? And it still be safe. Right? Our whole ecosystem has made these kind of companies to come up. Now, one of you could be disrupted by an alien, or one of you could also become an alien yourself in your industry and create a new wave of growth for your companies. This is what MCA stands for, gentlemen. And over to our star CIOs. We have the star cast to help us make this movie for us today. Can we stop screen sharing and then make the screen bigger, please? Yes. So Sanjay, you are in the forefront of modernizing your IT. I've seen it. You're one of our esteemed clients, and also leading one of the fastest growing conglomerates in India, and in the middle of IT modernization. And how did your experiences go so far?
Thanks, Sridhar, and thanks to all the participants out there who have taken their time out to hear our experiences. I think the topic about modernization, for us in the organization, I will take it a couple of years back when we wanted to embark on our digital journey. I think that's where it started. And looking at the infrastructure modernization is one element of it. And this is how we started. And we thought, as a conglomerate, what is that we need to do? And we are a very diverse conglomerate. They are different businesses, different systems, and yet you want to create some standardization, the value. And as you rightly said, we are one of the fastest growing conglomerate, which puts a lot of pressure on IT. That how do we create plug and play systems? We are doing M&As, time to time, and going into the various other businesses, very diverse in nature. And how you give IT support and make them happen just with a plug and play. I think that's where our story of digitization and the modernization of our infrastructure starts. And we started 2 years back. First of all, what we did was we thought, modernization should not be about buying new hardware, getting big servers or moving into the data centers and getting new storages and all that. So how do we make things simple? What is that simplicity we need to do? How do we scale ourselves faster? And, as you said, you have been one of the great partners, because if we had not made a choice at that point in time to scale our hardware, typically in the organizations, when you go in a capex route, it takes time for you. You may have the capex, you bring in the infrastructure, there's a delivery time. In today's time, nobody wants to think about those. And this is where partners like you who come to play, and we just with a simple nod and simple message saying that please enable us with 5 VMs today, enable tomorrow morning with 7 VMs today, and please give me a DR back to back. I think that is the beauty of what we have seen in the last couple of years. I think some partners like yourself have really been in the forefront to help us. So we created simplicity. We looked at our portfolio in terms of our application and infra. We made a plan. We prioritize ourselves. And typically, when you look at the system of records, which I mean SAP, is a big instance which we have in the organization. It cuts across the entire conglomerate. And that's a huge one, while the rest of the businesses have their own unique systems, but some of the systems, like SAP was huge. And we started our journey from there. We said, if we are able to look at an SAP and make it plug and play and move with the way world is moving from a scalability standpoint, that could help us. And that's where was the first, project which we started. We completed for one of the businesses. We took a big challenge of going to S/4HANA, thanks to you guys to bring in Heck. And, I think we were early adopters of Heck for our Adani Wilmar business. Getting confidence from there, while we have so many other companies, we thought, let's have a two-pronged, action. For some of the companies, we're in the process right now moving to SOH. And again, we have your data center where we have put in some workloads out there, and we use primary and DR there, and that's a journey we are going on. We are looking at application to application and modernization for us. And come COVID, what we have realized that it is not about we get pressure about cost saving. I keep on telling the teams that when in this world, when we are cost saving and we want to also modernize, we'll have to have partners who have to define new models of this modernization. What does it mean in terms of modernization? Are we going with the same stories in the past about buying hardware, buying space, buying VMs, or there is something else which can be done, which can speed it up? We see a cloud as one of our strategies. We are moving very aggressively. We had put in a lot of efforts as far as public and private clouds are concerned, and especially on the platform as a service, infra as a service, and SaaS systems. So the journey is on right now, and I'm sure I'll cover a few more questions and give more details. But yes, there is this method to madness. I think we believe firmly that every organization is in their own a phase of development and moving forward. For us, we are very clear. We are looking cloud very seriously. We're looking at modernizing our platform, which is pay per use, availability. And Sridhar, that is one of the challenges which we'll tell you and ask you is that when I don't want to use my infra in the night, I don't want to pay you for that time. And that's how we are looking at how do we still go out there and create the new models of providing services to our business teams.
Excellent. Thank you, Sanjay, for sharing your the modernization efforts that you have been in. Mr. Sumit, your organization Jindal is one of the largest steel makers of India. You have chosen platform as a service with SAP and Cloud4 CI as the managed service partner. How was the experience? And also you have run, the sessions before as in-house SAP systems as well. What's been that difference?
Thanks, Sridhar. Thanks for the question. Now, really the difference comes in a lot of headache going out of our area. So earlier when we had let's say the data center in-house, we have to manage everything in-house. There are a lot of resources and we have to make sure we have the processes, the people behind running it. Now all that goes out and I get it as a service. And I get it as a service which is SLA bound, which is predictable, which is with somebody else, which is you, your organization manages that entire responsibility of making sure the right skilled people are there, the right processes are working there. So it helps us focus on solving business problems rather than technology problems. So now with this, our team essentially is a techno-functional team which focuses on identifying where we apply technology to get business results rather than keeping the lights on kind of work we keep doing. So that's the big change that we have got.
Well, thank you, Sumit. Hitesh, your experience of running infrastructure the traditional way versus a platform as a service kind with SAP and Control S.
Yes, Sridhar. This is one big change or a transformation we have done in our traditional way of operation, where most of the things were managed and operated on our on-prem data center and by our own managed services partner and all that. This is one change we took when the new company has formed and we have a larger footprint to manage, and especially like ERP becoming one of the core backend component for the telco, especially our network management, site management, and all that. So this is a very informed decision we took rather than again continue running ERP on an on-prem basis with all legacy, or I don't know whether it's the right word to call this a legacy, but the critical conventional challenges. So we moved on to the PaaS model with SAP and running it over Control S data center. Yes, there is a sea change in the way we work today, way we operate a conventional ERP, the way we are operating, and the way it is now the ERP getting service for my entire organization spread across the country. I'm not saying it is centralized and operating only from my corporate office. It is if I have a warehouse in some corner of Assam or some corner of J&K, yes, that warehouse is connected to the SAP ERP, and they are doing the warehouse movement, material movement, site movement, and everything connected there. It's helped us a lot from availability point of view, system maintenance point of view. And I mean, typically you take anything and everything, a patch management, service management, all the conventional IT terms which we say and which we work day in and day out as an infra team or an application operations team within the IT community. And that is where our majority of time and effort are spent. It becomes just for you a service. Like maybe a Zoom service, you have taken it right now and having a video call. It just has like an order fulfillment or a financial tracking or my ledger printing. For them, that particular person, this is a login and take the service and then do it. So it makes a lot of difference from a day-to-day, from an IT standpoint of view. It's a complete different way of working. From a user point of view, it's a different experience for them.
Excellent. Thank you, Hitesh. As I say, platform as a service is one of the basic building blocks of IT modernization. And the expert surveys have shown that 460% return on investment comes in less than 5 years. So Dave, a question to you. In terms of CIO and digital, right? And CIO and as a role of CEO for digital efforts of an organization. Can I have some of your comments on that role, please?
Sure. So maybe what I'll do is that Sridhar, I'll share one slide to talk through that, if it is possible. Just 1 second.
Sure. While they bring on the slide, our team wants to also conduct a poll. You can quickly put on the poll while Dave is coming up with his screen. Kavita, are you running a poll here?
Yes, sir. The first poll launched.
Traditional work what are you planning to, where are you planning to move your traditional workloads as a part of your infrastructure modernization strategy? Numbers are growing very fast. This won't last long, maybe another 20, 30 seconds. We will keep it live, gentlemen. And people have, I think, have got some surprise gifts as well for, letting it go. Oh my God. This looks like, I don't want to talk about the comment, but this is definitely stunning. These polls are definitely looks like contrary to the popular opinion. We have got almost about 600 votes already, 600 people polled already. Last about 10 seconds to go. Yes, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and end the poll, please. We'll come back to the results, but we'll go to Deb. It has an interesting answer to the thing. Can we share the results a little later, or we'll come back to it? Deb, are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I've shared my screen. I'm not sure if it is visible because somebody has to share my. Just one second.
Madhuri and Kavita, please help. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We got it. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So, see, first and foremost, we have a very, very enlightened and a very well educated and experienced panelist. So I cannot add any value. I tell myself I'm a technology enthusiast. Right? I'm not a technologist. So I'll talk as a technology enthusiast. We have been talking about digital transformation, digitization, its benefits, what's going to happen in the future for many, many years. I guess, you can ask Sanjay, you can ask Ritesh, you can ask Sumit. I'm sure they have been championing that for years. What we witnessed in last few months, I have an analogy for that. It is like we have been trying to learn, flying on the flight simulator. Suddenly, we are in actual control of the flight and we are told to land the flight or land the plane in a turbulent weather. You get that feeling, the kind of experience what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that's what organization, people, it earlier used to be CIO's job. The entire organization and community are feeling that. That look, till so far, we have played around with so many things. Now is a real time when we have to get our trainer wheels off and we have to make it really work. So in today's time, I think you started by saying that Sridhar itself in your initial comments, companies are, and you heard from Sanjay and everybody, the survival of companies will depend upon the agility and the efficiency, how you move your physical assets to digital assets. It is a bit like what happened in the music industry 10 years back, or even the entertainment industry, because since you spoke about movies, I'm talking about that. How can you make a desktop movie? So I think that's where the current situation is accelerated. And we all know that. So the CIO is at the, I would say, is at the eye of the storm here. They have to pretty much take the charge and enable and facilitate the organization. But the key question, so when we went and spoke to many CXOs, the key question they have, is it a simple lift and shift, take our physical to the digital, or do we need to do something else? Till so far, what we have seen in the past, it has been both a mix of lift and shift and a bit of transform. But I'm going to share a bit of a different analogy again, because I love to share some of those analogies. You would have heard all the big tech companies who we read in the paper, right? All the big four in tech. If you've seen, they have announced not just work from home, they have announced all their annual events, including the most prestigious customer event, is fully digital. has gone for next 12 to 18 months, right? So at SAP, we had to shift overnight because in May, we usually have our biggest customer event in Orlando called Sapphire, where thousands of customers gather from all over the world. So we had to recurate our entire annual event called Sapphire. And the most important aspect of that event, when we started recurating that, is to look at an immersive experience for not customers at a whole, at individual customers, at individuals. So how do you curate an experience at such a massive scale? At the same point of time, take care of that individual, their requirement, their preferences, what they would like to see, hear, learn, or network on a completely digital way. So, and thankfully, that has, in a way, few of the things which we had done in the past has helped us to be able to do that. So Sapphire will start from next week, and I think week after next, and you'll soon see that experience how it happens. We have SAP as a company has 450,000 customers globally, right? And there would be a few million people who will log on to that platform, right? So how do you curate an unique experience and immersive experience is going to be the most important aspect. So if I can move the slide to the next one. Somebody can help me move the slide to the next one. So here is our basic fundamental belief. I'll not go back beyond 2000. This century is what we call started on the Y2K, after the Y2K, on the age of information, right? With the companies like Amazon, Google, Comcast, where power of the information was the key differentiator. Last decade, we saw the age of the customer, right? Where every company mentioned that they're a customer obsessed company. Whether they are actually or not, that's a different issue. But every company focused on customers. We believe this decade is of the age of experience. And that is because of the massive digitization, of the massive transformation of the things which has happened over the last decade. And companies will differentiate how they provide their experience, not just to customers, to employees, to brands, and to the overall community. So with that, I'll pause. And that's where I believe the role of the CIO will work very, very closely with the CMO, with the CEO, to be able to shape the experience of all the stakeholders.
Thank you, Dev. I mean, age of experience. Yeah, it's a deep subject, and looking at 2020, what is? I'm curious to know what will be there for 2030. Next 10 years movie, what we are going to make. But before that serious movie, can we stop sharing, please? Screen sharing. Before we go in there, I have, I'm thinking of making a movie right here with our panelists and the delegates or the attendees as the producer and directors. Okay, here, this is my question to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. If you were to, let's say, make a movie, you're the director and producer of the movie, okay? And let's call the movie as Mahabharat, okay? And whom will you select as, you have to now select 4 leading actors, right? What role would you give Deep, who's heading SAP of India? What role would you give Sanjay, who's heading Adani Group of India, and Sumit, who's heading the biggest, another biggest conglomerate of India, Jindal, and Hitesh of Vodafone. Let's say that we are doing Mahabharat, and let's say there are 4 roles. One role is Krishna, second is Arjuna, third is Bhima, and fourth is let's say Dronacharya. Okay, so all the audience, think about it. Whom do you give Bhim's role, Arjuna's role, Krishna's role, and Dronacharya's role? Okay, the poll will come back to you, but in the meantime, think of a movie. Yeah. Now we'll come back to the real movie that we need to make. It's a big responsibility of making a movie for over the next 10 years, right? For your company, your products and services, how they're going to be made. And Sumit, how do you see that movie?
Yeah, the way I see it is that there has to be, obviously, digitalization is an irreversible process, and companies who can actually handle that better and do that implementation of that better than their competition would survive. The others would just wither away, like the image that you showed in the first slide. So it's a matter of survival, and digitalization and the data-based and transparent way of working has to be adopted by organizations. It cannot be people-based or style-based. It has to be based on insights. It has to be based on what's going on in the market that you're able to sense, that you're able to read, that you're able to react to. And you have to be one step ahead of your competition, obviously. So, and these kind of tools, be it AI tools, be it AI tools to predict what is going to happen next and how you react to that. It's going to be the use of tools which increase your efficiency, which automates a lot of your day-to-day processes. So automation is going to be very, very important. Digitalization is going to be extremely important. These are the things where organizations will have to invest. Organizations will have to change also in terms of how they work, how they identify IT solutions, how they implement IT solutions. A success rate of IT solutions is not always very, very high because of probably more of cultural issues. That will have to be handled better. The ones who can handle them better will have more successful solutions. So the way of working, the way of implementing IT solutions will have to be much better than the way we have done in the past. Collectively, I'm saying, not any particular organization. That is how I see it happening. And you never know where somebody will come up with something completely different, completely new in terms of the experiences. They've mentioned experience, of course, that is very, very critical. And so you have to be able to retain your customers. Customers are very, very finicky, very, very choosy nowadays. Be it consumer-oriented products or be it industrial products, customers are being very, very, very choosy about that. So it has to be oriented towards customers and being one step ahead of the rest.
Thank you, Sumit. Before we go to the next question, see these results, ladies and gentlemen. I am surprised. I expected public cloud to win this question, but it remains second at 33%, private cloud at 37% of our very, very surprising. And so with that, we will go to Hitesh. Have you made any movie for Vodafone Idea combined for the next 10 years? Or you made a movie 3 years ago? I mean, yeah. Hitesh, you're on mute, Hitesh. We're still not able to hear you. Yeah, you're out. Yeah. You can start speaking now, I guess, Hitesh. No, we are not able to hear you. Okay, in the meantime, I'll share one movie, what Control-less Cloud 4C we made. This was, I think, about 4 years ago. I'll share one past and one new movie. I think about 4 years ago, we said that infrastructure as a service alone is going to be a commodity. Not much differentiator going to be there. And how do we increase the value add? Yeah. Then that's when we decided that we'll go platform as a service. We will not just give an infrastructure, but we'll give an industrial solution by partnering with software companies, and whether it is banking space with the companies like Infosys, or whether it is you all know our SAP story. We became their largest partner worldwide, and give an end-to-end industrial solution. Yeah, and can we have? We had one story of our movie. Can you please share that movie, please? On that slide, sorry, Madhavi. Yeah, slide 2030, please. Yes. Yeah. So 90% of our current business comes from platform as a service. The value add is completely changed. While most of the other companies are finding it hard in the, when the large scale. Yeah, Sanjay, now you're looking like a proper, yeah. This angle is, sorry, yes. So 90% of our business turned into PaaS from less than 10% 4 years ago. Now, what's our future movie? By 2030, now this is a reality story of the Control-less and Cloud 4C. We said by 2030, where do we be? We'll be the disruptor, right? We want our customers to get at least 5 nines uptime at application layer. And how do we make that automation? We said we will continue to raise the bar and go towards that. We do not want system administrators job at all in our company. That's another question I'm going to talk to all my employees what we are going to do. This question came up in my last employee. They asked me a question, look, you're doing so much on automation. What will happen to our jobs? Okay, I'm going to address it. Nothing is going to happen to their jobs. We will change them to the new roles. That is, the coding experts, or DevOps engineers, or change management champions through intelligent programs, or a hybrid SOC, where there will be people, but they will be there only for the new threats. And then, we will not have a system administrator, project managers, program managers. All of them will take up these new roles, and we have a massive program to train them. Basically, actual work, what our people are doing right now, will all be done through intelligent programming, and our people will be busy only in programming. Our system integrator of today is going to become a programmer tomorrow, DevOps programmer tomorrow, or DevOps administrator tomorrow, going forward. And that's the role that our team will be. This is our movie for the next 10 years. I think we will go there in the next probably 4 or 5 years itself. If you go to the next slide, only to manage SAP application, we have close to 40 odd programs. Not this one, please. Yes, about 40 plus projects have been initiated just to manage SAP application. Once all these automation programs are underway right now. And once these are completed, 80% of the administration of SAP is automated. You can get a lot more predictable results, and It will disrupt the way the managed services or a platform as a service is going to be delivered in the next 3 to 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. So this is our movie. Let's go to Hitesh. Hope you're live now. Can we have your movie, please? No, I don't. I haven't. Sanjay, do you have a movie? Oh my God! Now you're a serious competition to the rest of the panelists. Yeah, they will give you all 4 roles, I think. Yeah, they make you Krishna and Arjuna maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think Krishna was more for Deep because that's what it looks like.
let us see. Let us see. No,
You're the
audience
hero,
will
Sanjay. You're the customer. You're the hero, Sanjay.
Hero is fine, but here is about Krishna who makes everything happen for the customers, right?
Okay, let us see. I mean, we don't have Hitesh here. Hitesh, by any chance, you are able to speak, or yeah? Okay, Sanjay. I mean,
So
what's your movie or your 10 years movie?
10 years is very difficult, Sridhar, to really comprehend in these times. COVID has taught us that lesson. While we were working and thinking of building the plan, and I can tell you for, me and my team, we in the middle of the, Feb, we are almost ready to submit our annual plan for 2021 and next 3-year, 4-year roadmap, and beautifully done. And suddenly, one fine day, we had to go back and redo on the on the board that the strategy has changed post COVID, and given the imperatives about the challenges which industry and everything was going on. So 10 years is too far away, but I think story is very simple. Digital is the name of the game. Efficiency, productivity for employees, customers, agility is going to happen. Everybody is today looking at the information, at the fingertips. How do we enable our customers to approach, and in our consumer business, for example, if there's an electricity customer, there's a gas customer, they have the same needs. How do we allow them to get that information at their fingertips? They don't have to pick up phone and call centers. So there is a lot of digitization which has to move around that. And likewise, we have a lot of B2B customers. How we make their life simple. It's not only about doing business, it's about looking at their costs. Can we work something and help them to decrease their costs by creating those creative solutions at the same time? What we also, within our tech community and in our company, we use a mantra and say, how many of the business processes are IT locked? I think the more business process or IT locked will define the level of efficiency and automation, we are looking at. And that is a journey we're counting. Whether it's an automation log through RPA, it's an automation log by bringing in the best of the tools in terms of an IoT area. So there are a whole lot of segments we are looking at. I think this movie is going to be very different because we don't have one emotional or a romantic movie being a conglomerate. I think we have got a lot of different actors and different needs. We are trying to create
The true Mahabharata, yeah.
seasons around. There are going to be season 1 for every business, though we want all the seasons to go together. But I think, that is the need of the art for us. And we're looking at modernizing ourselves very much faster. And I can tell you, as I repeatedly have been saying, COVID has taught us so many different lessons. And, I was remembering reading a quote from Lenin, and I would want to, read it out for you. It said, there are decades when nothing happened. And then there are weeks when decades happen. So I think this is something which is set in so hard for us as a community, what we have been learning in last 65 days.
Amazing. So can I repeat that? There are decades where nothing happens.
Yeah, the Lenin said there are decades when nothing happened,
Yeah.
and there are weeks when decades happened.
Okay, got it. There are weeks when the decades worth of work happens. Yeah. Amazing, amazing learning. Yeah.
I can give an
So,
example. I can give a very realistic example. When the lockdown started for the organization, we had, as an organization, moved on to O365 somewhere around December, early Jan. And between me and my teams, we are saying, okay, when do we implement rest of the functionalities of O365? And we're discussing, everybody had put a plan, every BU, that yes, next 2 months, we will implement Teams and we will do MS Planner and so on and so forth. As soon as the lockdown happened, though, we use a huge amount of blue jeans, and every user asked us to get an ID, which was not possible. On 12th, on 13th of March, our usage of Teams was hardly less than 5%. 17th of March, it was 20%. On 25th of March, it was 100%. We by now today we have done more than 100,000 calling and more than 40,000 VCs over Teams. I think by far and large in my own career, I have not seen such a fastest deployment of a solution, and the change management here from users who did not raise any concern and issues, and everybody was happy and say, yeah, I just want to get on the platform. I think that is what is teaching us a different story. We have been sitting in different thoughts and building movies about change management. I think things have to be rewritten now. How do you look at change? How do you make them adopt this change? And also, so the movie is on, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sanjay. That was very good insight, especially your Lenin's quote. Yeah, there is one thing about Indians, I think, right? When the time comes, they will deliver. It's the same as the story with us. I mean, overnight, everyone started working from home, and I thought it's going to be a disaster because we manage mission critical applications for our customers. I had nightmares. But our team has shown that not only that they have adopted the new way, but also they have the CSAT ratings. We do it on an everyday basis, right? The CSAT ratings went up during the last 3 months of the lockdown. I mean, surprising. I mean, that's what gives me the confidence, no matter what the experts may say, that but we will come back. This human resiliency will make sure that we will come back to normalcy in no time. Yeah. So I've been getting calls. They want to launch. Our team wants to be excited with the poll. So they want to launch a second poll. So all of you, friends, ladies and gentlemen, there are very good surprise gifts for all of you for participating in the polls immediately. This will be a few seconds, going to be live. What are your top IT modernization challenges? Yeah, whether it is a legacy environment, dealing with the legacy environment in terms of you have some monolithic system and the new programs are not able to take it, or lack of automation skills, AI skills, and RPA skills in your organization or in your current partner set, and or is it the optimizing the current cloud environment is also one of your challenge that since because of the COVID and all that, budgets optimization, are you under that pressure currently? Or the overall budgets itself is a problem. You're not able to convince the top management that the budgets are needed for your movie making. Very interesting. I'm sure the panelists are able to see the poll results, right? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Last 10 seconds. We have got over 600 votes being polled here. Last 5 seconds. Very interesting. So I'm sharing the results right away. There are not many challenges with legacy, 21%. Lack of automation skills or AI, RPA seems to be 35%. That's the kind of a biggest concern. And budgets is the second biggest concern. 31% are finding it challenging to get the budgets. But if you use MCA theory, you will get the budgets. So the way our team, our automation team, convinced me to let go of millions of dollars every year. is by showing me the clear movies. In terms of they will show me a movie. I don't know how far it's going to be a reality. And Sridhar, you spend $100, we'll get back to you at least $2,000 in 3 years. And it's not just they're backed by a proper proper movie. I mean, they know how to make movies. Our Ramu heads our art mission. So now with that, I wanted to actually, there are over 100 questions. I want to bring in, we have a CIO of RSPL, the Gari detergent brand here. It's been our customer for a long time now. Mr. Sudhanshu Satpathy. Can we bring him live? I mean, by any chance?
Yes, sir. Sudhanshu sir has been given access.
Mr. Sudhanshu, will you take our call now?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Good evening, Sridhar and everybody.
Hi.
Thank you. Bringing me this,
those of you who don't know Gari, I don't think there's anyone who don't know Gari detergent, right? Yeah, okay, go ahead, sorry. Sudhanshu.
Yeah, thanks, Sridhar, for giving this opportunity for on this platform. So, yes, we are partnered you more than 3 years, and it is a beautiful journey. And definitely, on these scenarios where the pandemic situations, we are doing well, and we are being one of the manufacturer of essential commodity. So essential commodity reaching to each individual household things like your detergent, soaps, then dairy products, all are essential. So in that part, IT plays a vital role, and we are happy when we take back partnering with SAP as well as Controllers on our journey 3.5 years back. So we, at that point of time, we have chosen our services. It was ahead of curve, and it is paying back. In fact, we are happy, and we have seen in the last 3.5 years, 99.995% uptime. So it is excellent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. We do have Mr. Joseph from Future Generally. Mr. Joseph, can we have your comments, please?
Yeah, sure. You can hear me. I mean,
yes, Mr. Baiju.
Yes, thank you for having me on this, and good evening to panelists and to all attending this event. And I just wanted to say 2-3 things. In this uncertain economic times, CIO will be pressed to demonstrate the business value of IT or face the potential cuts. So we can reinvent, I mean, as a fraternity, we can reinvent the relevant posts after this. Of course, we need to put up a framework and accentuate the business value of IT for sure. There are some areas what I've seen, we were working on the business and economic disruption because caused by macro events and this COVID pandemic and any other disruptions like today what's happening on the calamity, whatever. It forces us to rethink actually and our operational priorities and adjust our KPIs, which is planned in the beginning to overcome these challenges, because priority to overcome these challenges and bring our business back to complete normalcy. So what we as a CIO we need to do, we need to increase the visibility of monetary and non-monetary ROI by balancing the traditional approach as well as the whatever investment goes into a traditional versus modernization of infrastructure. So I mean there are a lot of things to be done. what a CIO and our IT team has to do is to bring back or bring upfront what we are trying to do, what the value will bring onto the table, and how each investment will materialize or monetized is very clearly articulated. And my partnership with, of course, controllers, not SAP. Controllers have been, wonderful. And during this last 9 weeks, 9 to 10 weeks actually, it was amazing. And, we didn't face any on-demand issues. We could actually transform well. And we are being in a financial services and essential services, handling claims of any COVID patients. We could materialize not impact without any impact. We could do it. And thanks for the support. And I actually really see why your 2030 movie and the first episode is already started. I mean, first episode actually, we released during the COVID side, and I was really witnessing the particular customer today. So that's it from me, and unless otherwise anything.
Thank you. So Deb, how can you help or SAP can help CIOs make better moves for 2030 or the short term as well?
Yeah, I guess there are three words I use for that: survive, transform, and thrive. Right. I guess for every company, obviously, in the panel we have all companies which will see through this crisis. I have no doubts about that. But for many companies, we have a broad base. I think survival is also a key issue, and so that's going through this crisis is the most important thing, both from a financial, business, as well as from an employee well-being perspective. Second aspect is obviously, how do you use this opportunity to transform and accelerate? And third is when actually the macro situation turns around, how you're poised to to go forward, as you had mentioned. And we found my experience over the last 60 or 90 days, both internally and externally, are three things. Our level of engagement, employee engagement, has gone up by significant level, right? So we do an employee pulse check every 2 weeks, a digital employee pulse check in terms of how people are thinking, how they're doing, and so on and so forth. So that's number one. What we also did, we saw customer engagement actually go up by 40%. Normally, this is Q2 for SAP, and this is Q1 for most companies in India. And this is the slowest quarter because of school holidays, budgeting, annual budgeting, planning, and things like that. But what we saw, like Sanjay said or Hitesh said, in terms of the amount of engagement activity, what we have seen with our with customers have gone up significantly. There's some interesting thing. The amount of creativity which has come out in this 60-70 days gives me a lot of hope. I'll give you an example. I talked about this experience. There is a tweet in the Tata group. They're actually, what they have done across the entire group companies, they've used a supplier pulse check to look at the health of the supplier. If they have to look at some alternate suppliers for alternate sources for category A and category B suppliers. Because if you're a conglomerate, if you're a manufacturing company, if you're a large, your supply chain can get disrupted. So they used a supplier pulse to look at what is the state of the health of their suppliers. So so the amount of creativity which is coming in over the last, I would say, 60-70 days is amazing, actually.
Got it, Dave. Thank you. So Hitesh, your voice is working. We are eager to know about your movies.
Yeah, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from my point of view, from a VIL point of view, this movie, or what we started it, is from the experience which Deepa ended the saying at age of experience, and especially when it comes to the digitality of the experience, and the focus from our side, which was running from last 2-3 years, is like how will I give a best experience for my customers on a digital channel, and especially for a self-service. So the focus is mainly yes, of course, employees are also there, but from a customer point of view, that was the key focus we were doing it, and the modernization and everything we were doing primarily on that area. A lot of investment done on the digital areas, mainly to get rid of the lot of legacy which is running on the back end, but at the same time giving a uniform omni-channel experience for the customer. We had invested on something called the digital experience layer, which eliminates all this dependency on legacy systems and everything, so that one single layer which talks to, and just to give another background here, because we are talking about two different organizations, like one Erstwhile Vodafone and Erstwhile Idea. Now the customer have to have a similar common experience among both the applications and systems. So that is what the first focus was, how we will give a best experience to our customers and how we enable that part. That is one way we done it. And our focus further continued on, because we talked about automation, we talked about analytics and all that, but we again focused more on automation, but not typically going into an RPA and other side. We looked at how best we automate our customer engagement. Like typically a mobile customer, their engagement normally happens through an agent or a contact center or a store. We started investing on bots. So we already invested and implemented our chatbot on all our digital properties. And initially, yes, even a chatbot have its own limited. Initially, it was a normal chat engine we given where they can directly chat with an agent. Then we enhanced with a chatbot with AI and ML and all that. That have a good adoption we have seen. People are able to come and then do the chat, and they are able to fulfill most of the service fulfillment without reaching to an agent. And again, another modernization, which I think many of us has to do it, when we do such tools and things, we also has to do modernization along with the modern trend. When we launched the chatbot only to our website and our own app, like My Vodafone app, My ID app, adoption was only in some 4 digits in a day. But the moment we enable the chat through WhatsApp, the same chat the customer can do through his WhatsApp, it went into 10 times. So the modernization it's not just limited to only to the story or the board, or which is layer only our organization. It looks out, we need to look out opportunities and channels where customer are adopting more and more. And our modernization has to be to link it to that. So this is just one example I'm giving as a WhatsApp part, and similar other thing we are doing. And just from there, our next focus is how will we create an email bot. Today, somebody reads, somebody responds it and all that. We can easily move it on to that. So these are the experience part, which we are the movies, in other words, we are saying, we are building up in our organization.
Yeah. Sanjay, you have a question from one of the attendees. How do you balance between, IT budgets and in terms of, and also the, movie making, automation and other stuff?
I think it's all about prioritization. While we want to do everything, we get excited, but I think this is where we need to wear the hat of a business CIO, not looking at our IT stuff or get excited about what technologies are there. It's about building a balance and making sure that your business understands, and you choose, given these tough times, if there are 10 things to be done, I think you go back and say, whatever monies we can spend, why don't we look at the top two initiatives which could define some quantifiable ROI. So that's how we do the balance. And as and when we move forward and things become better, you do it, because there is never an opportunity, whether it is pre-COVID or post-COVID, that budgets are free flowing. There's always a budget you decide in the beginning of the year, and you have to manage. You maneuver between the budgets. But I think it is where you have to become the students of your business, rather than sitting on the IT cap always. I think you've got to be with the business and understand their priorities, what is going to be their pain points, and how do you leverage and impact. If a project which is like which comes to us and says, it will help me to do some reporting, we don't take that unless somebody says this project is going to be where I can bring in some revenue, or it can change the customer's life. It will be important from that standpoint, and we take those steps. So to my mind, it's about prioritization. Bottom line is that.
Got it. I have, as a CEO, and I sit on the other side of the, I'll give you my experience. I tend to give, I means I'm representing now the CEO community here, yeah, tend to give approvals if it improves a customer experience, uptime. Those are my top priorities for automation. My second priority is in terms of a budget reduction, meaning productivity improvement. Productivity improvements, I take a hard look at it because every project, there is a chance of 50% chance of success, 50 could be failure. Right? So that means that whether that justifies the productivity savings is going to justify or not, you don't know much. Yeah. So they'll give a definitely second priority. First priority is, can I bring something new for my customer? Can I increase their uptime? Can I solve a pain point? A simple project, I'll give you an example. See, when we run the applications, when there is a breakdown, it could be because of hardware or anything. And for it to come up live, if it is a large HANA database, sometimes takes 2.5 hours. Now, how do we reduce this? Our guys have written a new program. It just went live. In fact, half of our customer base is getting the benefit of it now, wherein it will come live within about 45 minutes. If it is a small instance, it will come up in like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Large instances take a little more longer. Now, simple program. However, we are raising the new bar, like Gary has said, we could deliver 99.99.8 application layer. Is because of these initiatives. These kind of initiatives will definitely get budgets. Because that you are straight away hitting the CEO's carry, right? Any amount of money you will get it. That's my few tips. Can we launch the real poll now? Now all our audience are becoming the directors and producers of our movie. So can someone launch the poll, please? Madhavi, can you launch the poll? So who is going to be Krishna? Who is going to be Arjuna? This question is a little bit confusing. Hold on. Whom would you choose as Lord Krishna? Okay. Oh, this is going as then it has to be 4 questions. Yeah. Oh, wow. Another 10 seconds. Be ready for the next poll. Krishna. There's a big war going between 2 of the panelists. Guess who that could be? Yeah. Okay. Next, ending the poll. Next one. So we will know. By the way, Devdeep has been elected as Krishna. The number 2 as Sanjay. Yeah. So let's launch the next one.
I want Sanjay to win it because he's the customer.
No, it doesn't matter. We are making a movie. Customers, many other customers are deciding. So, yeah. So who's going to be the Bhishma? Who's going to be the Bhishma? Oh, it's a clear winner. Oh my God. Last 10 seconds. Done. Sanjay is a clear winner. Really big margin. Yeah. And okay, next poll, please. Who is going to be the Dronacharya, and who is going to be Bhima? Hitesh. Oh, Hitesh and Sumit. Yeah, Hitesh has become the Arjuna, and that means that Sumit is the Dronacharya. Hello, sir. So we are going to learn from the Ardronacharya right now. So, Mr. Sumit, what would be the you've made it to the CI world, right? Top role in the country. What's your advice to the youngsters who are aspiring?
Nothing very, very different from, I think, what we all know. So it may be a little cliche, but what is important is to understand the business part of IT rather than being a technologist. Understand business, understand where IT really adds value using the technologies. A lot of time we may get excited about emerging technologies and applying that, but it has to be about where I get the biggest bang for the buck. So that is what we have to understand, because our internal other functions are our internal customers, and we have to treat them as customers and understand what makes them successful. What makes them successful will decide what makes IT successful and us successful as heads of IT or CIOs. That is something that I think is very, very important. A lot of times we also continue to just flow with the kind of the organization has. Not all of us have spent our entire career in one organization. So when we move from organization to organization, cultures are different, styles are different, and we try to blend in and gel in there. And we take time to get absorbed in that, which is fine. But at the same time, we should not get overwhelmed by that and just let things continue as they are. So we have inside of us, whatever we have in terms of our knowledge or experience, we need to bring that to the table and ensure that with that we are able to add value and not just blend in into the organization. That's very important, I think. Those are the two things I would say.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a question probably from Shivakumar and probably to Devi or any of the panelists. How best we can automate and incorporate the other web components for SAP to make it flexible? Probably the question seems to be that, SAP, how do we make it flexible by adding up new digital components?
So I'll request the other panelists to share their experience, hands-on experience. I can share, subsequently.
A little of what I've seen is SAP has a marketplace where there are hundreds of applications developed by ecosystem partners, small plugins to big plugins, and industry solutions. And APIs have been written for SAP to do most of the automation. You just need to search for it in the marketplace or with a partner. We have close to 350, 400 SAP professionals. Please pose a question to us if you have anything specific. And then we have another question in terms of how should our existing infrastructure apps to be remodeled or rebuilt? When is the right time to do so? When is the right time to do so? To remodel the existing infra apps? It's one more question. Could be. Sanjay, do you?
Sorry, what was the question?
A question is about when do we need to renew, remodel, rebuild the infrastructure applications is the question. The need for it is important. when we make a movie, as we said, 10 years down the road, this is how we'll be, right? And then come back and then see where you are, whether the vehicle that you have, is it possible? You want to go at 500 kilometers or 300 kilometers per hour. Are you sitting on an ambassador? Yes, you must change it right away. Yeah. Because the car was built for, 20 years ago or 30 years ago needs or 40 years ago needs, right? So I would say that, that's the primary thing to decide when to do it, whether in your bigger picture, your existing components can allow you to take you there. That's number one. Number two, the way I see it is, most of the CIOs are getting busy. 80% of their time is going to running the applications, handling the problem of data center guys, are doing the network negotiation with the bandwidth providers, to that of launching new business applications. Is taking actually a backseat a little bit because of day-to-day administration, day-to-day outages, handling the day-to-day problems. Yeah. If we burden with that, you can't take up modernization, projects so easily. Modernization projects take away significant amount of your time. 80% of your time needs to be dedicated for these movies to be successful. So I would say, if your any infra or app is coming in between that, get rid of it. That's my 2 cents. But Sanjay, what do you think?
I think, see, I don't know, there is a defined answer about when is that time you have to do. I think it will again get driven by the business you are in and what kind of value you want to get from that application portfolio. And is it delivering with the need and the challenge you are facing on day-to-day basis from a business standpoint? And, is it delivering the value? If I have an application, it has reached a place where I can't do much, I of course have to modernize and go to somewhere, where it gives me value. But at the same time, I don't want to build and spend money today and get a Ferrari when actually people are not able to go beyond ambassador. So that is the trade, what we need to do, because you have to look at the investments that you are also making at the same time. You don't want to put in your pump investment because I want to have Ferraris everywhere. I would not do that. It depends on, like, for example, when we talk about modernization of apps, typically a lot of us have challenges that we have built a legacy. And now you get stuck at some point in time because the platform has changed, things have changed, you can't do much. You can't scale it, you can't add, and you can't now have interfaces to be built in multiple different applications you have. So what do you do in that case? I think is a question for us. Do you then take a decision of working and creating more legacies, or you do a trade-off and say, let me go to a COTS product, which has got functionality. It has been built over a period of time, keeping in mind a lot of experiences from different industries. I may not use all, I may use some of them, but these COTS products, they also keep on improvising themselves. They also keep on adding new functionalities, looking at what is in the market. If I have to go that way, or I look at something, a platform where I can go and build these applications which no longer be called as legacy, yet I will have the agility to move around those applications. I manage my IP, I can change it. So it would depend time to time and, the need of the hour for your business when you want to do that modernization. For example, for a large conglomerate, for a bigger business, you don't want to compromise, and you would like to take for a system which could, to your earlier point, where if you have to look at a productivity, you have to look at customer experience, you have to look at agility, will help. But for a small business, if they take a Ferrari, I think they'll be putting a lot of funds, in Ferrari, where they will be going with the speed of an ambassador. So it's a different point in time. We'll have to make those choices and the impact therefore.
Thank you, Sanjay. Sanjay also shared a workplace modernization, a brilliant scale up that he has done. Sumit or Hitesh, do you have any experiences with workplace modernization efforts, especially with the COVID? I'm sure a lot of reforms have been done. at the end user level?
Yeah, I think yes, Sridhar. That is one, as many of us had expressed already. That is one work which we are forced to do in a factor of 3-4 days. Where telco, which is typically only a work from office model, and everything is tightly coupled and designed to work only from an office model, we are forced to modernize it in a week's time completely into 100% in a work from home. Or now practically it started with a work from home, but now within 70 days or 60, within more than 2 months, we are now practically thinking and modernizing in work from anywhere, because we can now no more say, okay, you are connected or you have this dependency and that dependencies, because the things and situations are changing. So we had done a lot of modernization. Our infrastructure side, like from a completely on-prem inbound based video conferencing and all that, we have to go into a new gen video conferencing solution for the better collaboration. Email solutions has to get augmented. Connectivity and access control has to be moved from LAN to WAN through VPN. So this entire ecosystem, wherever people have access, and even contact centers have been shifted from, agents have shifted from a contact center places into their home, and they are able to answer to the customer calls. So every area, VDI solution has been implemented, video conferencing has been implemented, VPN solution has been implemented, or over a period of, I can say 1 week was hectic to doing all these things, again, sitting remote and all that. So initially our challenge, as everything was, okay, how I run operations smoothly. But a situation progressing more than 2 months and all that, our projects, we were doing large set of system migration, consolidation and all that. Initially, we kept it aside, thinking that, okay, this we may not be able to do it, but we modernized that area, how we do remote deployment, remote monitoring, remote controlling and all that. So we started doing system migration, billing system migrations and all that in the last 3-4 weeks. Peacefully, I mean, things have changed. In an office environment, we would have done it in 60 hours. From a work from home, all on remote, we are doing it on 96 hours. But zero error, seamless migration we are doing. Yes, it's a need, so we have to modernize. Then that's the only way things will work.
Yeah, for us, it hasn't been much of a challenge, because I think the building blocks were already in place. We have been with controllers for our SAP ERP for quite some time now. So when we moved from working in office to working from home, we just have to deploy VPN clients for the users to access it, which was done very fast. We provide support from remotely to users working from home or working from office. Initially, even the IT support staff all at home were providing support remotely to end users wherever required. If they have to configure something, if they have to grant them specific access, all that was done remotely. So that was also in place. Our mail is already hosted. We use Google Mail. So we have Meet and Hangout for doing video conferencing internally. Suddenly, face-to-face meetings disappeared and everything started happening remotely. So we were actually in a good position, because the things had started happening quite some time back in terms of placing the building blocks. The transition wasn't very difficult. We are even getting into implementation of large projects, like we are modernizing our logistics processes with an SAP solution, and the entire at least the project startup, and we don't know for what foreseeable future, we will actually do the entire project execution remotely with our partner and SAP and our employees. So yes, that's how we have been dealing with it.
Thank you. So that brings us towards the last few minutes of this wonderful discussion. An event with probably the maximum number of people attending, with star-studded expert panelists. And from Deep, last comments about the movie making business.
So I think in times like this, I think you've got a very nice caption in time for MCA, and in times like this, I think we should not lose our imagination. And because I guess what we have seen in crisis, I'll just give you one example. If you look adoption of, like, see that your entire business is on cloud, right? If you look at SAP's transformation as well, if you look at post the financial crisis, cloud computing went through the rocket, went through the sky, skyrocketed, right? So a similar thing is going to happen post this crisis. It is for companies, organizations to be able to take advantage of that. And every company will today have to become a technology company in some way or the other. Whether you're in a traditional business or whether you're in a services business, even if you're not a tech company. And that is the guiding principle. And we are seeing that in India. Few companies are actually becoming tech companies, right? Few traditional companies. And many such companies will start becoming even more. Because what will happen, product consumption will move to subscription. The entire consumption economy, technology will move us there faster than we think. So the movie making, instead of a 10-year horizon, maybe we should look at a 3-year horizon. What's going to happen next 3 years? What's going to happen to subsequent ones? I guess that's where one should focus at.
Got it. It looks like our team has a lot of gifts planned today. So they want to launch another poll and distribute those gifts. Bhavani, can you, sorry, Madhavi, can you launch another poll, please?
Yes, sir.
Technology investment plans. Okay, let's see. I mean, this is very interesting for me too. Yeah. Yes. Despite the, these are the investment plans, despite the current situation. And that means that, there is this is what is showing the resilience of, companies and our community as such. Amazing. Amazing. Last 10 seconds, please. Yes, we can. Another 3 seconds, we are ending. Yeah. So the clear winner here is cloud technologies. Yeah. And cloud at 34%, the clear winner is people are planning cloud technologies. And at number 2 is cloud managed services. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Gentlemen, over to Sumit. Your last comments as Dronacharya of India CIOs. Your last few cents to the people.
Yeah, I didn't know I look that old or I sound that old, but anyways, I'll take that as a compliment.
You're probably the youngest of all of us, by the way. Yeah. No, Devdeep looks like younger to all of us. Yeah.
I think Devdeep is the youngest.
Yeah. Yes, Sumit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think key will be here. I think agility to navigate through these times. Agility in terms of not just IT but businesses. How do they manage it and how do they leverage IT? Because situation is so dynamic and we don't know how things will pan out. A lot of businesses are in trouble. So being agile, I would think, would be very, very critical, at least for the next 3 to 6 months, for businesses to work and survive. That's what I would say. Both business agility and technology agility in that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumit. Sanjay?
Oh, I would say, first of all, stay safe in these times and make your choices, plan your work, be thoughtful, listen to your businesses, help them to embrace the new normal and take those decisions. And of course, it's about being agile, and I think it's about being also very thoughtful. Increase, this is all to my IT friends, increase your emotional quotient, because this is the time for us to be there with our business and stand and make your right. I think every one of us is on a different journey. I'm sure everybody is find what they believe they are doing right, and continue doing the good work and keep surprising. I think the way IT fraternity has done in COVID and proved different value to the business. I can see it was never in the past where IT was seen more of a cost and keeping the lights on. But I hear today business talking about the value what we bring. Keep winning and keep bringing this value to the business and stay safe.
Thank you, Sanjay. Our team also wants one more last poll on end user technologies. Madhuri, can you launch it, please? That covers, that gives us a significant, yeah, the last poll, please. We should have had one more thing here. Are you planning workplace modernization? None of the above should have been there. Or they would have done it, because most of them have just now completed. Now still AI, ML and RPA seems to be the area where maximum amount of interest is there. Excellent. 53% of the people about 23% looking for DLP and desktop as service for about 25%. So almost equal. Thank you very much. We are ending it here. Thank you for all for the participation. Last comments from Hitesh. Your message to CIO community.
So I think it is almost already mentioned and covered. This is just one more situation which, as a CIO or as IT team, we had faced it and we overcome it. I think the faster and the speed at which we adapt to those situations and we stand in the shoes of a business user or as a CEO, start looking at the things and start delivering things, definitely we will be able to overcome all the situations, because tools, technologies, solutions and everything exists today. It's a question of how fast we adopt it and how fast we implement it, and as a champion, how we drive it in our organization for everyone to adopt it. That makes the difference from my view as an IT champion.
Thank you, Hitesh. And we have a great audience today here. The outstanding interest for, we way overshot our time. Still, we have over 1,000 people attending this event. Shows the interest in the subject of IT modernization, as it's going to affect everyone's life, not just companies. Forget about the companies. Think about us, about our careers as IT professionals. Yes, we have a great opportunity in front of us, more than the CEOs, I would say, because you've seen from number of case studies, you've seen from outliers in everywhere. If you make your movie, if you dream about your movie and make it successful, if you do MCA properly and make your next movie, probably you are going to be the a star of the, not just a star of the community, the star of your life, and with a great amount of satisfaction. Now, the basic framework is what we gave through MCA, gets you started, from there you build your teams and make a digital roadmap for your company and making it successful is going to give you a lot more satisfaction than the lead actor of Interstellar, that which I can promise you. And I look forward to hear to those case studies from some of you got inspired by our speakers in this session, and go back home and change your working and accommodate this movie making and MCA a part of your lives. Thank you very much for your participation. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful having you here, and especially Devdeep and other panelists for making time here. You're all running massive organizations and multi-billion-dollar organizations, and I know how busy you are. And despite that, having taken the time to help your community, help our CIO community, our participants to, and guide them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar.
See you guys.
So we're still live.